Come on into God's house.
Balls and a butthole. You're a comedic genius.
Can't goddamn lay down on the floor in your own house. Ow,
You want to film it.
yeah, well.
We're the blunt people, y'all.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Blunt People podcast. The Blunt People are myself, Travis Nelson, and three other comedians. And we come together to film one segment each. And with our segments combined, we fill an hour for you to listen to. And these subjects are as varied as science, history, snacks, politics. Boy, the Blunt People could be getting into any kind of shit. Anyways, welcome to the Blunt People podcast.
Who's down with BPP?
Yeah, you know me.
You know me.
I'm
What
Chase
up, y'all?
Myers.
I'm Erin Ingle.
And I'm Vanessa Dunn. And we're back with episode 2, y'all.
It's real.
Right.
It's happening.
I really liked your Dukes of Hazzard intro there. Like, what are these boys getting into next? Like,
Yeah.
that was, yeah.
Yeah, well, the first one, as I was editing the first podcast, I was like, good Lord, I had no idea what I was going to say. And you could see the fear in my face on YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do it. And
You can't hide.
this time what I did was I hid the fear, but I still hadn't planned anything to say. So I just went like narrator mode with it.
Beautifully done.
Perfect. Trust
Yeah.
yourself, man. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
Did
yeah.
you all-
So
Did you all learn anything life-changing last week?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Blue
man.
Yeah.
for
They're
me,
haunting
it
me.
was remembering that Kobayashi had to eat against a bear. That was pretty important to me. That changed my week.
I'd be
Dude,
lying
that-
if I'd be lying if I said I didn't talk about Joey Chestnut just a bit last weekend.
How could you not?
Yeah.
Yo, I found the perfect clip of that bear or whatever. Travis put it in for the last episode. I fucking love, like, it's just the bear just screaming and then Kobayashi terrified. It is. It's a great contrast.
So how are we going to decide who goes first, Erin?
Aaron, you got any ideas?
I happen to have a wee little idea, and it's a bit mischievous, but it's
What?
quite smart, if I do say so myself. You wouldn't believe the resources the internet has. And, you know, I learned a lot and access a lot of those simply by Googling things like random wheel spinner. Da, 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 da. For the viewers at home, we have a 4-part wheel. It's got each of our names on it. It's got a little spin button in the middle. We're going to spin this, and whoever it lands on is going to go first this week. Sound fair?
Okay, that sounds fair.
Okay.
Do
Oh
it.
gosh, I hope it's a good one. Oh
I
gosh.
hope it's me.
Ooh.
I
Can
want
you
to
hear the
fuck you guys
clicks?
up right off the bat.
Not really.
I wish it was clicking
It
for
could be
you.
anyone. It's spinning fast.
Oh, Chase.
Oh, it's Chase.
Chase starts it off, baby. That's right.
2
That's
weeks in a row.
right. I'm gonna leave after my set. Is that cool with you guys?
You gotta stay watch the headliner, bro.
That's beautiful.
Okay. Well, all right. I have a special story this week. I'm very excited. So this one, it plays around. It's in the sports realm.
Ooh, it plays
there's
around.
It plays around in there. It also dabbles a little bit in some little fraudsterism.
Ooh,
Some schemes.
Chase
some
likes a
schemes going
fraud.
on.
Oh,
I
some
do.
schemes.
I love a fraud. I love it so
Okay.
I
much.
love a good
Do you respect him, a fraudster?
Part of me. So I'll as we get into it, my feelings will come out. But there's a very specific thing that I feel about a lot of these dudes that pull off frauds. Me and Travis, I think Travis already knows where I'm going with it. But I will mention it as it comes up because I do think they get a little too much credit. But
I think 100 years, if Chase would have been born 100 years before, there's definitely a version of him that's like a nomadic huckster scam con man
Snake oil.
traveling around the
Hey.
deep south in like a little caravan trying to sell snake oil to everybody.
Look, buddy, I'm like one more thing going wrong here before that's just my life. So like, there seems to be some reason that I'm constantly like listening to podcasts about it, watching documentary. Like it's in there, and I'm scared for when that switch flips one day.
Just one day, I'm like, Chase, why is there a pile of snakes in the living room, and what happened to all of their oil?
If you need a hookup on a jalopy with maybe some like pots and pans clanging on the outside, a rolled up rug, that I will find that for you. So you can travel the country.
I cannot wait. Just over my shoulder. It's gonna be great. Okay, so this is a hockey story, and I'm not big on hockey. I don't know a lot about hockey. I'm not gonna act like I follow it. I did like go to like minor league hockey games as a kid. There was Baton Rouge had a team for like 3 years. Fucking loved it. But yeah. There was by the way, just to add this, they were called the Kingfish, which is the nickname of our most corrupt politician in Louisiana, Huey P. Long of all time. But he had a cool nickname.
Did he own the team?
No, he did not own the team. He had been dead for a long time. We treat this man like he's a hero, but really, he's a fraud as well. But he built roads in Louisiana, and he got us a new governor's mansion. He also got shot. That's a cool way to die. Like, he went out all like with mob stories and stuff. I may actually do a Huey P. Long episode one day. So we'll just bookmark that. Let me not give up too much. So
we could do a faded, not to interrupt, but we could do a faded folklore on Huey P. Long.
That is true. That is a good one. Okay, so I want to time this time. I want to see. Last time I felt like I was just out there foiling. I want to know exactly how long I've been talking this time. Okay, so the New York Islanders is a hockey team. They were established in 1972, same year as the Nathan's hot dog eating competition, because I'm just starting with 72. That's all my stories are with things that began in 1972. That's my gimmick. So sports used to be a lot different back then, like in the 60s and early 70s, where like franchises would just go out of business. Like they would just not be a team anymore, or they'd be bouncing around from city. It's not like now where there's like TV money that kind of keeps everybody afloat. And, and so it looked like they were going to lose. It looked like they were going to lose their team like immediately, right? But they turned to work out this like TV contract that was like $13 million a year that allowed them to stay on Long Island. It eventually like gave them the flexibility to be a good team, and then they became an amazing team. From their third season on, they made the playoffs 14 years in a row. They won the Stanley Cup, which from what I understand is like their Super Bowl. That's their World Series. They get a cup. That's what they get. They get a cup.
They understand the game is played on skates.
That's right. This just coming in. I believe sticks are involved. I do appreciate. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like an NHL team when they win the championship. But that, like all sports teams should be like that. Like the trophy never comes back like in one piece. Like that whole year that is with whatever team, it's been like dropped and people have like put kegs in it, and like it's been passed around from each team. It's showed up just in nightclubs, just VIP, just
up
the trophy.
Somebody's ass.
Just up somebody's ass. You know how weird hockey players are.
That's what we want. Just the nastiest, dirtiest trophy.
I'm saying give it a shot. See what happens with World Series
get some
trophy.
slime on it.
Yeah, give it a story. You know what I'm saying? Put some stank on it. So the New York Islanders, this is their glory years, right? These early years from the 70s into the 80s. They actually win the championship 4 years in a row. From 1980 to 1983, they're the last professional team to win the championship 4 years in a row. So more than any NBA team, NFL team, baseball team, they're the last like true dynasty. They had this crazy streak where they'd won 19 straight playoff series, which is like another record that's probably never going to be broke. It's like almost 5 years of not losing in the playoffs. And this was the team. Everything was good. It had a good like following, like they're just like a real fandom to it, like just crazed fans that wanted the team. It was also special because it's in Long Island, which is like New York people that are like from there, like very much they're like, I'm not from New York, I'm from Long Island. Like, so it was like
just to interject, I believe it's pronounced Long Island.
That's the problem with my accent. Is that it's tough for me to switch to other accents and stuff. But yeah, my apologies.
Long Island.
It's a Long Island.
Oh,
hey, we see you.
Bear.
You're not fast enough, Bear.
You're getting chanted.
Bear.
What a man.
Great cameo.
Wait, how is Chase saying Long Island wrong?
Oh, it's if you hear somebody from there say it, they'll say Long Island. Are you hearing it? Long Island,
okay.
Yeah.
Long Island, like
This is a
long
good
guy.
accent.
Like,
Yeah.
like
Is
the
it a black
land.
thing?
Long eye.
It's just that New York twang, I think. Okay, sorry to interrupt. The
No
Long
worries.
Island hockey team, the Islanders.
So yeah, they're this great dynasty. But then they have their down years from '88 to basically now. They've not really been a good team. And particularly in the mid '90s, early '90s, just they have new ownership. It's ran by like a bunch of investor dudes, not like people who really give a shit about the team.
Boo.
Stuff like that. So this is their down years, right? They're looking to sell the team. They're trying to sell the team. The stadium is like falling apart. The stadium is literally like, if it rains outside, it rains inside. I saw like videos of like people with umbrellas inside the stadium during a game. Concrete's breaking and shit. Like it's not a good thing. So they're looking for anybody that wants to step up. Anybody that's got a dream.
Gosh, I hope no opportunist swoops in here.
Let me introduce you to a man named John Spano.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen,
pleased to meet you, John.
This is our main character right here. So John Spano, he is from Texas. He's in sales. He creates this company called the Bison Group, and they lease airplanes. They lease planes to people.
Wait, they're called the Bison Group?
Yes.
And they lease airplanes.
Yes.
Did he know what a bison was?
He has no idea. But this is the first example of people not asking him a single question.
Okay.
They will come up. This is just like him very early on testing the water of like, what if I name this plane a ground animal? What?
Not just a ground animal, like the ground animal very similar to an elephant, where you're like, that thing will never fly unless it's falling off of a cliff.
So heavy.
And so he's got a good business. He's not like a millionaire or anything like that, but he's got a good business. It's in Dallas, and it turns out a lot of the rich people that are in Dallas would like to rent planes from time to time. And so he's always hanging out with all the rich people in Dallas. Jerry Jones, that owns the Cowboys, is hanging out with him. Roger Staubach is his buddy. That's like an old NFL quarterback for the Cowboys. He's just hanging around everybody that's around. So people just assume because he's with them that he's got money. He's got money just like everybody else. It really, what this story shines is how much you could get away with in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And just how little like background checks or it just in a like just you could just say, like we always joke about like the 50s as being a time where you could just like drive to the next city and be a new man. You could just have a new life and but it turns out you can still kind of do it up until like 96. Like you could still kind of just lie away.
Before
so you
the
didn't
internet
miss your
was
like
like
traveling snake oil salesman con man life by that much, really. You just missed it by like 20 years.
I was a kid there for it. Yeah.
You could have been selling Chase Cola for all of your peptid needs.
So our man Spano decides that he's rolling with the big dogs, and everybody just believes him. He's getting into all these like exclusive places. There's a hockey team called the Dallas Stars. News to me, but there's a hockey team. They're called the Dallas Stars. Somebody's trying to buy it. This is like 95. So this is his first little foray. He jumps in, tries to buy the Dallas Stars, tells him he's worth like $230 million or something like that. Travis, do you have a question?
I did. I don't want to keep interrupting your story, but again, I got confused on a name thing. So they're
Yeah.
called the Dallas Stars?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Is that because Texas is a Lone Star state?
I'm sure.
Probably.
But
But
you're
if Texas
asking,
is the-
you're asking
the
Chase
lone-
Myers, the authority on all things hockey.
Yeah.
and Texas.
This is just another name that doesn't make sense because it's the Lone Star State. So why are they the Stars? That's plural. That's more than one star. That name doesn't make sense.
So I'm trying to downplay that I know stuff about hockey, but the truth is,
Make it make sense for me.
I got you, buddy. There's kind of like, I want to say they started as like the Minneapolis North Stars or something like that.
Okay.
And then they got moved to Dallas. They just dropped the North thing, called them the Stars. And Travis wasn't around to be like, I'm sorry. What is?
Excuse me. I've
what
just
is-
arrived from the Bison Airfield. And
One star will do.
He's making up documents. That's his thing too. He's just making documents and faxing them back in the day, making it look like he has his money. His attorneys are actually like, I read stories of his attorneys just didn't do any background check on him either. So he's just like, somebody call his attorney and he's like, yeah, he's got it. Yeah, this is fucking John Spano. What you talking about? He's Jerry Jones's buddy. Blah blah blah. He goes and meets with Dallas. They have a lunch, and he's there with all the executives, and he doesn't pick up the tab. This $230 million valued man that's trying to buy this new franchise waits a long time before picking up the tab until somebody else with the Dallas Stars have to pick it up, and then everybody goes, "This is very weird.
Yeah.
What is going on?"
Did he
Instead
try to
of-
play it off like that? This is how that's why I have money, because I awkwardly force other people to pay for my meals.
That's right. It's the art of the deal. Okay. I don't lose any transaction. All meals.
No money out.
If you pay your week.
If you're truly good at negotiating, you can get the waitress to pay for your meal.
And this man's truly good at negotiating, apparently. And so the Dallas Stars notices, they realize this is a very strange thing. They're also going to hey, we're going to have the meeting where you need to put down your first payment. He makes up a bunch of excuses about why it can't happen. He loves the I have accounts overseas.
Sure.
And that money takes time to move. That's a very common thing. You continue to use that. My finances are just they're just so confusing overseas, and it's just but Dallas goes, all right, this is bullshit. This guy, and so they just stop talking to him, right? But the Islanders want to go back to the glory days so badly, and they have these owners that don't give a fuck about the team, and there is a Texas tycoon that is willing to say whatever he has to say, including
It's what he has to say. Yeehaw!
Like, we love this guy. So charming.
Shooting him off. So he's going to keep the team in Long Island. He won't let them move. He's going to build a new stadium. He's going to put the love of the team back in. He's going to they changed the jerseys and all the fans are mad about it. He's going back to the old jerseys. He actually meets with the Stars. With the Islanders. Go ahead, Erin.
But I did want to know. So the deal with the Stars fell through. They were like, we got to you show us some money. And he's like, I simply cannot, not because I don't have it.
Yeah. Dallas called bullshit immediately. They just immediately call bullshit. He leaves out. Then he starts talking to the Islanders, right? And at no point, I might as well say this now, do the Islanders call Dallas to be like, hey, what was this guy like whenever he was trying to buy your team? At no point.
No, that's long distance.
It is one thing. It's one thing to be like, oh, they didn't have the internet, but it's like, okay, but they didn't use phones.
They didn't make the phone call,
Right.
bro.
It could have faxed or something.
In a time where that was like what you did.
Yeah.
They didn't do it at all. Neither did the commissioner of the NHL. Like, the commissioner of the NHL was just like, y'all handle this. I assume that you're doing your due diligence. Like, he didn't back it up either. So this just fucking dude
He
who's
was just
really
like, you guys, I'm a millennial. Calling people makes me feel weird.
right, yeah. This guy that's really makes like $150,000 a year, a good life, by the way. He had like a good life. He had a business. He made good money. He had a nice house or whatever, but he just fucking fake it till you make it. I got to be the top of everything. So the Islanders are just so interested in getting this fucking team sold. They're just like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's yours, whatever.
I owe you on a Post-it note.
Right. And Spano is making up documents to confirm, all of his money. He's sending some people certain documents, other people other ones, so that way there's no like crisscross. Some people aren't talking to each other and stuff like that. And yes, Travis?
How is there any detail into like how well or poorly he's forging all of these documents?
I didn't see any pictures, but I can't imagine it's good. I can't.
Yeah, because like if you're rich, you don't like you've seen Donald Trump's handwriting. It's illegible. Yeah. So he could just be sending like a bunch of bullshit over, really.
Yeah, I'm sure he was, dude. There's not, and I'm sure they were just like, this is Jerry Jones's buddy. No need to check this, and just fucking threw it in the stash. Yeah, man. So he now with his like forged documents of how much he's valued and his attorney, who's an actual person, saying that, yeah, he's worth this money. He goes to a bank in Boston and they give him $80 million in a loan. He just walked in, said who he was. They just wrote it over to him. They just gave him $80 million. I watched an interview with him where he said it was easier for him to get $80 million than it was for him to get $12,000 when he tried to buy a car. So he now has half the money. The franchise is worth $165 million. That's the price that he has to pay. He's got half of it. He talks it over with him. Oh, because of my money, the banks, whatever, I can only get this $80 million. Here's this $80 million. They go, well, surely he's good for it or whatever. They sign the title of the team over to this man. They set up a bunch of payments for $17 million. He's got 5 different payments of $17 million, and he's got to try to figure out how to get it. By the way, during this entire time, he's fucking living it up. He's going to the like local nightclubs. He's using his influence everywhere. He's like got VIP tables and stuff, which by the way is not how the owner of a sports team acts. Like
you don't think so?
Like Robert Kraft, the New England Patriots like owner, doesn't go to just like whatever the cool nightclub is downtown.
He's at the food bank every week.
And hey, he's at whatever fucking grotto that he's got built in his house. Like he's got his own fucking thing. Like they like you're not just hanging out in places like that. But John Spano was. And he's fucking everybody. He's fucking as many people as he can. He's actually taken over like the day-to-day of the team, and he's making real decisions with the team. He gets the team had a situation where their coach, his coach was his last name is Milbury, and I made sure to write that down because he has an amazing highlight. Yes, Travis, I'm sorry, did I miss you, or was that a stretch?
Oh no, I was gonna say something, but I could kind of take it or leave it. I was just gonna point out if he was just fucking everybody all night long, it's pretty wild that he also took over the team finances and everything, and makes me think that maybe this guy could have pulled it off if he just had the money.
Yeah, if he just had the things that he said he had, I think it would have worked out. He really had it, and that's the thing. So that was my theory that I didn't want to like say too early. That me and Travis talk about a lot. Every time one of these like stories comes out of somebody that frauds everybody that got defrauded says he was a genius. He was so smart. And really, no, they just lie. They just keep lying, and they don't stop lying. And you don't have to be smart to do that. You just have to not have a conscience. You just have to not have a conscience and keep talking. But they're always dumb shits. They're always stupid shits. But they just don't have that thing that says don't lie. They just keep going. Like
there's like a Nathan Fielder from Nathan For You interview I was reading, and they ask him like why he pushes things so far with people. And he said because he noticed that's what happens a lot of the times when people are taken advantage of in all these different ways by like scammers and stuff, is very clearly things aren't like above board. Like looking back on it, it's like, okay, that was ridiculous. But in the moment, a lot of times for whatever reason, people just won't question it and they will just kind of go with the flow. And I thought that was so amazing because I never thought of his show from like that angle, but it is very much like what scammers do. Is everyone just like, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. My day's not about to be like trying to undo everything this guy's done. So
you say you're an expert, or you say you're a millionaire, or whatever.
Yeah, and if you believe it and enough, and if you have the like enough people around you that are also saying it, like, you know, who am I? Like, and that's what happens. Everybody just assumes that the other person has checked up on this guy, and it turns out nobody did. Everybody got fooled by it.
Okay, so he's coaching. He's renewing the.
He's in the game now.
So there's this coach Milbury, right? And I wanted to make sure to point him out because he has an amazing highlight of whenever he was a player. Because whenever he was a player, there was some type of incident where he was in the penalty box. You know, that's what you go to timeout in hockey. They put you in timeout. And he's getting heckled, and he goes into the stands and beats a fan with his own shoe. And it's on YouTube. I've seen it. I'll make sure that the clip's in this. And that
he beat the fan with the fan shoe or with
the
his
fan
ice skate.
No, not with his skate. No, that's a much different.
Oh, that's assault, I think. If he did it with the skate.
That's stat.
I had to clarify.
Someone. Yeah, no, he beat the fan with his own shoe. Yeah, and so he is the coach and the general manager of the team, which is something that doesn't happen very often. That means that he actually picks the players, negotiates contracts while also coaching. But Spano knows this is not a good deal, so he fires him for being the coach. Now he's just the general manager. Spano also renews with the TV contracts. Remember that TV contract keeping the team afloat? Spano knows that you got to do that, right? So he renews with that. Team starts winning. They feel like they got this owner that's going to back them up and throw a bunch of money at them. They got a chance of making the playoffs for the first time in 7-8 years or something like that. And then Spano, it's the day before his $17 million payment is needed, and he shows up. And he shows up with nothing, and everybody said, that's okay, give it to us tomorrow. And the next day, he wired him $1,700.
My simple mistake, right?
It's a simple mistake.
No big deal.
Hey, oh, damn. Well, fuck, it's the fucking banks, my lawyer, my attorney, my accountant.
You know what? This is 100% my fault.
They all.
I will be sure to make it right next time.
Next year.
So he's still got to make this payment. The next day he goes to make the payment. He goes to send them a fax with some new forged document of some kind, and he sends the fax from his own goddamn house like a dumbass, and everybody realizes something is afoot here. And then the local like Long Island like media, like journalists and stuff finally start getting a sniff of the story of what's going on. I believe the paper's called Newsday, and they finally bust it wide open. They start saying who he actually is. He was trying to get a deal with the hotel guy that he was partying with all the time. Like, hey, you want to buy part of the team? And like, you know, maybe he could make this one of the $17 million payments. That guy pulls out, doesn't have anything to do with it. Everything falls apart.
He's stunning.
But here's the weird tie-up is that he has the title of the team. Even though he hasn't completely paid the team, he has signed like the title. So he has to like give up ownership of the team. If he wanted to, he could have just kept the team and went bankrupt and just fucking went as far as he could with it and just, you got to fucking take the team from me.
Buy it from me for $80 million.
Yeah, buy it back. He gives the team up. Everything.
Can you imagine just flipping hockey teams like you would flip houses?
Dude, just amazing. He goes, of course. So, all right. So everything's busted. He ends up selling the team. Somebody else buys it. Here's what he got charged with. So I'm reading this now just straight off Wikipedia. So in 97, it says various charges of bank fraud, wire fraud, and forgery in New York, Massachusetts, and Texas. Including fraud of gaining control of the New York Islanders, which I didn't know was like an account, like was like a charge that you could get. He was sentenced 71 months in prison for that.
71 months?
71 months.
Did he serve?
He did serve.
Gets out of or
gets, I believe, all the way. Let's see. I didn't get as far.
He's not actually rich, so that he could get out of jail.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
he's not
he
real
actually had to do
white-collar
the
rich.
time.
Yeah.
And then, like a true fraudster, when he gets out in 2005, he commits mail fraud in Ohio.
No, tut.
Goes back to jail for 51 months. Gets out of jail in 2014. Commits theft and forgery charges, also in Ohio. Is sentenced to 10 years in prison, and I believe he is still in prison today.
How old's he got to be if he was crooking around in 72?
He is. Oh no, that's when the team started. Was in 1972.
Oh, okay.
But he's 58. He was actually kind of young. Like he was 32 whenever he was taking. Like when this was happening, he was 32, 33 years old.
Well,
That's one of us. That's one of us trying to buy.
Like,
Erin walks in and tries to buy the Kraken right now with that hat. Like that's.
Hey y'all, I'd like me a piece of this old ice stick team.
Oops, I dropped a wad of bills out of my pocket.
It happens all the time as one of the ultra rich. Anyways, what do you guys want to buy me dinner?
Can I make an unrelated joke about Texas? I recently found out that in Texas it's illegal to have more than 6 dildos.
Huh.
Yeah. So my big idea, here's where the scheme comes in. We buy like an outlaw bar and we rename it the 7th dildo.
Like a speakeasy type situation.
Yeah. I mean, we're not like selling dildos.
I need to see the business plan. I'm
gonna, it's just like, hey, we're outlaws. We go beyond the rule of law here. And the example is just a 7th dildo, but it could be anything.
I feel like it'd have to be a sex shop if it's the 7th dildo. Like,
yeah, there's a back room.
Wild shit.
This is good feedback for me. This is good feedback.
Also,
goodness.
like after that story, I have to double check you. Like I have to do complete background checks on everybody.
Don't do that.
All right, are we ready for the wheel?
Yeah, good story, Chase.
All right.
Good job, buddy.
Amazing job. Educational. I love a good fraud.
Same.
All right. So I have downsized the wheel to include just the remaining presenters, the remaining people of the blunt. Here we go.
Same order.
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga chaka.
Yes.
Travis, it is.
Trangus. Trangus.
Trangus time. It's Trangus time.
Oh man, I am so excited.
What we got?
Oh, this might actually mess you guys up a little bit. I'm excited. So today I would like to talk about a parasite.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's not a financial one either, is it?
No. It's a protozoan, Erin. It's a single cell parasite. So what it is basically, it's what's called an obligate intracellular parasite, which is just like obligate means it needs other animals to complete its life cycle, and intracellular just means that it grows within the cells of other animals, right?
Is it smaller than my like blood cells?
Yeah. So it's that's actually, I mean, I would assume it's smaller than your blood cells since it's intracellular, but I actually don't have like a number of microns wide it is or anything. Okay. But basically, it's one of the most common parasites. We just kind of don't think about it. It's capable of infecting almost all warm-blooded animals. 1/3 of humans, they say about 1/3 of humans have been in contact with it, which is to say, if the 4 of us gave blood and had it tested for antibodies against this, at least one of us would have had been infected by this Toxoplasma Gondii. I think I called it Toxoplasma Gondii earlier. It's Toxoplasma Gondii, and they always shorten it. Yeah, 2 eyes at the end. Gondii. They shorten it to T Gondii. I'm gonna call it Toxo because that just feels cool. I want to add a little bit.
Anybody else call it that?
Toxo?
Yeah.
I've heard people call it Toxo. It's like more
Gondii, maybe?
casual. Toxo's like more casual. It's like, you left the lab, you went out for a couple beers, and you're like, hey, remember that thing we all got, Toxo? And they're like, huh? Gondii? Yeah, let's just call it Toxo, though.
Nice.
It's after work hours, right? So
Sounds
Casual.
more dangerous when you call it Toxo.
Yeah.
Well, it
I
might be
know,
real
I like that
dangerous.
too.
Continue on.
Yeah. Just trying to add a little element to danger to it, right? Like even in the 7th Dildo Outlaw Bar, there'd be a special nook that we would call a Toxo Nook, and it'd just be
Great.
full of cats. Because
Is that where I'm
cats,
getting it?
by the way, are the definitive host. And what that means is like these parasites can only reproduce inside of cats or felines, but just because house cats or cats in general are the ones we're most in contact with, that's usually where we're kind of getting it from. So I'm going to explain the life cycle to you, and then I'm going to get into my favorite part. So the life cycle, basically, this is how they exist.
Can I pause you?
Yes.
Is what a person get, like, do you contract toxoplasmosis from this?
Yes.
Okay, I've heard of this before.
Yes. Toxoplasmosis. It's actually, especially if you're going to be pregnant, they always tell you to stay away from cats and not to change kitty litter. And this is why, right? Because that's a very easy way to get it. And it's usually not going to affect people very much. There's something called acute toxoplasmosis, which is basically like when you first get it, you kind of like run a fever and you have a lot of like flu-like symptoms, but it's not really that bad.
Grow a fluffy pair of whiskers?
No. You just you
don't
real
turn
sick.
into a cat.
No. Here, let me explain more. You guys will get to. I don't want to like bury the lead of where I'm going with this, so you guys are just gonna have to like really stick in for like a couple more minutes until I can get there. So
something better be a cat soon, bro.
Bro, it's never gonna be a cat, Chase. I'm sorry. So the cats, basically, they reproduce inside of cats' intestines, and then the cats like poop them out, right? So from there, it spreads to like soil, water, and food, and it's contagious within a few days. So if you do have cats and you're worried about it, as long as you're changing that cat litter every day, it's not going to be a problem. Although I will say I've never met anyone with cats who changes that cat litter every day. You're gross people. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't smell. So they're contagious within
care of it.
They're contagious within a few days. So these like little oocysts, it's basically like one cell, and then within it, these sporozoites is what they're called. It just starts like replicating all these sporozoites inside, and so that's what makes it contagious. So that way, if you were to ingest it somehow, by like accidentally touching like cat poop, which it's probably pretty hard for that to happen unless a cat, I don't know, touches anything in your house. But yeah, you get it, your stomach wall will like break down the cell wall of that oocyte and then dump all these sporozoites into you, and then they go to your intestines basically, and they hang out there. And they just kind of like they invade cells in there, and then
Travis, why are you doing this?
Because it'd be upsetting.
Look at the faces of your friends. Look at how you're making your friends feel.
Yeah,
we feel yucky and bad.
We're only halfway to the bad part.
Oh Lord.
So these
what? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We can have a real talk about what the goals are of this podcast.
The goals aren't to just upset people. All right. So the sporozoites then turn into these things called tachyozoites.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And then the tachyozoites can actually move around your body. So that's usually like when you're talking like acute, that's when you have acute toxoplasmosis. You don't feel good because it's all in your blood. And then eventually, if your body's immune system kicks in, it actually shuts those down and they turn into something called proteazoites, which is like dormant. So they get into like your skin, like your muscle tissue, and specifically your brain and eyeballs. And they just like form these little tiny cysts where they're just kind of like, instead of like propagating like a virus, they just slowly divide like a cell.
I hate this.
Yeah.
More blue people. Do
Does
something
it
that I couldn't get. Do something
Look,
I
you
couldn't
guys, it
get.
can't all be incest.
turn them into a blue cat. Make them
You
a
gotta
blue
have to
cat.
you gotta have your vegetables with your incest, guys. All right. So, and then consumption of these tissue cysts is one of the main forms of infection. So, if we take humans out of the picture, because people are usually talking about humans in this,
I'd
but
like to be
here's what's
taken out of this picture.
right. So let's just take humans out. Right. Let's think of cats and like how this evolved with cats.
So they lick their butts.
Right. So cats poop. Other animals will get like somehow get that poop in them, on them, around them. But specifically,
that's their business. However
hey man, I don't know if you've ever seen animals. They're pretty loose with it. They're pretty. I had never seen a cat wash his hands. Really, they lick them, but they ain't washing them. But basically, if like prey animals, specifically mice, if mice get this and rodents get this, it affects them differently. So what happens is when the parasites migrate to their brain, they specifically start affecting the parts of the brain that have to do with like a lot of behavior type stuff. They make them more
carefree.
They make them less scared.
Little party mice.
They don't care, man. These mice are just like, hey,
loose.
man, what's even the problem, bro? And they also, it like weirdly makes them interested and attracted to the smell of cats, specifically like cat urine. It actually, they can see through the studies that it lights up the parts of the brain in mice associated with like sexual activity or like pleasure. Yeah. So they become real like sex freaks about cat piss. They're like, oh, just piss on me, cat. And then so it makes it really easy for the cat to then eat them. And then once it eats them, the parasite can finish, like that's where the parasite reproduces, is within a cat, right? So that's where they want to get. But that's the cycle, is it has to get out of a cat into another animal, then back into a cat. That's what it's trying to do.
So it just happened to be mice, but just any animal that it might have got into now is like totally into cat piss.
Okay, now this is where it gets really cool. Because mice are the one we can
I don't want to be
like,
into cat piss, Travis. Tell me it can't happen.
Chase, buddy.
What's the cure?
Right? Please just be a pill for this one.
No. Well, see, here's the thing. We probably all have this, and it's not a big deal. It's just dormant in our system. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. They did studies. There's towns around the world where as much as 85% of the population has this like in them. You know what I mean?
Gross.
Yeah. It's just there. You can't do nothing about it.
And I know this is a risk for pregnant people to get it while you're pregnant. But if you've had it before, you're clear, apparently.
Right. Because so the way it's supposed to work is once the immune system kicks on, the parasites go into like the muscle tissue and form these little cysts, and then supposedly then the animal is eaten, and then the cyst parasite makes it back into the cat's stomach, right? So it can reproduce. So really, it's not as dangerous when it's as much when it's in the cyst form. But if you're like immune compromised or something like that, you're not going to have an immune system to like kick it down. So immune compromised people and pregnant women, because if it gets to the baby in the first trimester, it'll almost always kill it. In the second and third trimester, you'll have a lot of like encephalitis and like a lot of brain-based epilepsy, a lot of like issues like that. Like it's a big problem. So that's why they test for it, though. They're pretty strict. It's a very rare thing that this happens. That doesn't usually go down like that. All right.
Listen, Travis, I was having a nice little time periodically muting myself and eating my slice of pizza during Chase's segment.
Yeah.
And now I have this whole slice of pizza here getting cold because I'm so yucked out by your tiny little protozoates.
Well, Erin, I would say that's what you get for trying to eat during a podcast.
Well, Travis.
Well,
that's fair.
Yep.
Like all I
should have known I was going to talk about weird stuff, and I'm not done yet because here's my favorite part.
Why do you sound like a threat?
More?
He said, "Oh, and I'm not done."
Oh, I'm not done. You bastards.
Oh, there's more.
You best friends of mine.
He's
You
Billy.
fucking
He's
sit
Billy
down.
Mays in this toxoplasmosis right now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about behavioral differences because
Let's talk about it.
yeah. Toxoplasma gondii is known for being like, one of those brain control parasites, and there are a lot of them. But depending who you talk to, people like to kind of like, there's a lot of people who are like, this isn't a factor in the way people act, and other people are like, this totally is a factor in the way that people act. So I'm just going to read what I have on the behavioral differences of infected hosts, and then we can chat about what we think that actually does. So, there's many instances where behavioral changes happen. The changes in rodents were seen as a reduction in their innate dislike of cats, which made it easier for cats to prey on them. And then they did an experiment on the rats, and the infected rats showed preference for the cat odor versus like a rabbit odor or something like that. And so that's an example of the extended phenotype concept, which is like your DNA basically has you, I don't know how to explain this well enough to you guys. The
Then
idea
let's
that the
move
behavior of the infected animal changes in order to maximize the survival of the genes that increase predation of the intermediate rodent host. Okay, probably going to cut that out.
No, keep it.
Yeah, there's also differences. There's also
money.
differences in sex-dependent behavior. So it affects.
We're still talking mice.
Yes, still talking mice. It affects men differently. So men, it infects them worse.
Men
basically.
mice.
Yeah.
I would say males, not men.
Okay, so this is actually going to be shown to be true.
Dude, mice. Okay.
We really are talking about of men and mice, aren't we, folks? Little John Steinbeck action here. No, I'm slipping up because later on they found out it's true for human men too. Yeah. So males had or infected males had higher levels of testosterone, and infected females had significantly lower levels. And when you look at humans, infected men scored lower on like super ego strength and rule consciousness, and they scored higher on vigilance, so like a little more paranoid.
Like a cat.
But this is all correlation, by the way. This is not direct causation, so we can't say with any kind of certainty that toxo does this to people's minds and makes them act these ways, because that's what's tough about behavior. But there is a correlation between a lot of these things. So men were more likely to disregard rules, and they were more expedient, suspicious, and jealous. On the other hand,
the rule that you shouldn't eat cat poop.
And no one ever set out to eat cat poop, Erin. Eating cat poop just happens, okay? It's part of the human condition. On the other hand, women were more warm-hearted, outgoing, conscientious, and moralistic. So you guys actually got to be better people when you got infected with it. Mice with toxo had worse motor performance than non-infected mice. Infected adults performed much more poorly and lost their concentration more quickly than the control group.
I just pictured like Stuart Little just like driving his like motorcycle off the road.
Just crashing.
Like I pictured him driving drunk that little car.
Yeah. Correlation has also been observed between the presence of toxo in humans and increased risk of traffic accidents. In fact, infected subjects have a 2.65 times higher risk of getting into an accident. They did this study in Turkey too, and it was the same. Not in Turkey the animal, but Turkey the country. Scientists in the country Turkey did this study. The parasite has been associated with many neurological disorders such as schizophrenia, and it's also higher in people who were suicide attempters, and higher associated in women over the age of 60. But again, these are all things where it's like, is this correlation between toxo and these things, or is it like different effects, right? So it's probably multiple things. Like if you have toxo, you're probably also in a couple of these other boxes. So that's why it's important to say it's not caused by, but it seems to be a factor.
I think you work for toxo. You can't prove toxo is the reason that people are eating cat poop. You can't do it. It's The reason I hear big toxo coming out your mouth.
No, don't you dare try to swift boat me like this, Chase.
We all got it. It's totally fine. We all have it. It's just a normal thing. Like 90%
Like
of people
herpes.
have it. Just
Yeah.
kick back and enjoy the toxo, baby.
I just wanted to make a strong point about not conflating correlation and causation, because that's a lot of the problems that we have with people's misunderstanding of science nowadays. Is correlation does not equal causation, and there's a fun little mental game to play to remember that. It's everyone whoever confused correlation with causation wound up dead. So you can't conflate the two. It's important not to.
Is that it?
I have a little more. Let me see if I actually.
Is it important?
You guys hate mine.
I
You don't like my segment. Oh no.
It's so yucky.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing that cats kill babies. Like that is what I got from
And
the
that-
most.
And
Oh, here we go.
If
Here-
a
this is what
guy
I wanted
eats
to-
cat poop, he gets real horny and wild.
Likes catfish
This-
now.
This is the part I wanted to say. Research on the linkage between toxo infection and entrepreneurial behavior showed that students who tested positive for toxo were 1.4 times more likely to major in business and 1.7
See,
times more
you
likely
do
to
work
have
for
an
toxo.
Why?
Why?
emphasis in management and entrepreneurship. Everyone
1.4% does not seem like a significant.
No,
significant
it's
number.
not. A lot of these are garbage statistics. I just
Oh,
thought
that's
that
funny.
was
I thought
funny.
you said 1 out of 4.
Well,
No.
no, but what they're trying to say is there's also one where toxo exposure was correlated with being 1.8 times more likely to have started their own business, which isn't high. But what they're trying to do is
That's
they're trying
almost
to
double.
show that in the same way that like mice don't have as much of a fear response and it makes them more risk taking, that this seems to kind of do the same thing in people, even if those
Mhm.
numbers aren't really showing it. So yeah, to put a button on this and wrap it all up, there's a parasite in cats that controls your brain and makes you crazy cat lady and makes you love cats. Cats control us. They control the entire world. We all have this parasite. It's swimming around in your blood. You can't get rid of it. I'm so sorry. It
That-
makes you schizophrenic. It makes you
It makes you
I
start
mean-
a festival on a small island that that
Yeah.
you sure is
What?
going to go off without a hitch.
Yeah, but the important thing for me to say is like also like 1/3 of the population has this, so it's like a little overreaching to say that like it really like changes people, because it's more accurate to say that it is kind of a part of what our society is at this point.
Wow.
We just are toxo.
Wow. Well, that was
So,
stirring.
like-
Vanessa?
Next week, are we gonna get blood tested for toxo and see which one of
Yeah.
us has
Oh,
it or
I
what?
hate it. We're all gonna have it.
Oh,
Fuck.
we're going to have it.
I don't know. I stay away from cats. I might be okay. Like
Yeah.
like I kept switching back from like I probably have it to I don't have it. Like
Yeah.
increased car wrecks. Like I was like, fuck, I might have it, and then I was like, so I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, I think
Well,
I'm
see,
good.
no, but you're correlating, you're mixing correlation with causation. You,
You
have a lot of
stop it.
traffic
Exactly.
accidents.
Travis.
Well done. What a
Good
Oh, you
job.
had
nice
it.
Try
thing to talk
again.
about.
Everyone
Did
had a
any-
bad time.
Did any of you guys
Yeah.
notice that I changed my screen name
I
on here?
did. I noticed, but I didn't want
I
to
didn't see it.
interrupt.
It says I don't have toxo.
Amazing.
Okay.
That feels like
Okay.
misinformation.
So I would be, if you would start off and been like, there's this like this cat thing or what, like if you just started off with that out of 5, but you threw too much science at me at the beginning and it got gross and it was just I didn't know like I didn't know where the light was. Because I know you would just
Fascinating.
keep telling us gross shit. Like that's the thing
Yeah.
about you is I know you would have just done 25 minutes of the nastiest shit ever.
Yeah, just to please himself.
Yeah.
'Cause
Look
he
how
doesn't
proud
mind
of
taking a
himself
risk.
he is.
He's so happy. Look at that face.
Yeah,
I wish
fun.
I would have screenshotted the moment when me and Vanessa and Chase were all in like a deep yuck face, like scared, and Travis was just gleefully talking about tiny cyst. Oh.
But wait.
I'm not even
It gets
close to
worse.
done. All right,
This
should we,
next part's my favorite.
So these rats like to fuck cats or something. All right, should we kick it between me and Vanessa?
Spin that
Yeah,
wheel.
let's do
Okay.
it.
Ooga chaka, ooga
Ooga
chaka,
chaka,
ooga,
ooga
ooga, ooga.
Spinning, clickety, 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 clickety. It's
I
going
feel like
to
it does a lot
me.
for just
Hey,
two names.
angle.
Like it could have spun faster.
Yeah, it could have, but it's still clicking through as many imaginary possibilities.
Gotta keep it fair.
Keep it fair. Okay, so this week on snacks, hacks, and personal attacks, we're going snacks, my friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just got back from the Oregon coast. Lovely time, lovely place. And what do you think I picked up from a little sweet shop on the coast?
Oh, did you get saltwater taffy?
You bet I got some saltwater taffy, baby. Okay, has everyone had it? Has everyone had
Yes.
saltwater taffy?
Yes.
I have. I didn't
Okay.
realize it was so like synonymous with the Oregon coast, though. Or is that just like a thing
I
between
would
the two
say
of you?
the coast in general.
Okay.
Saltwater taffy. I always think of it in a coastal town. I think it's available pretty much everywhere though.
Yeah.
But that did get me thinking, same thing. It's like, is this a coast thing? What's up with saltwater taffy? I mean, do people like it? I don't know what the general consensus is. It's kind of yucky, but also kind of good. Are y'all if I had a little bowl out of saltwater taffy, would you reach in there?
Yes. My thing with it is
Yeah.
I forget if I like it or not in
Yeah.
between every time. But it looks good enough for me to always give it a shot again. Like that's what always gets. So I will absolutely at least eat it once.
Vanessa, you going for it?
I would definitely eat it, especially if I was high. Like, yeah, I'm gonna eat like 3 of them back to back.
No matter how
Like, what flavor
sticky
is
they
this?
are.
And then I'm gonna eat a flavor that's gross and be like, I'm
Yeah.
done with this.
Yeah. Travis, you going for it?
Well, it's kind of like jelly beans for me, where it's not so much that I want to eat it as I want to figure out what every single flavor is.
And so I agree. I would compare them across the board with jelly beans because there's really no, you're looking, I've got in my hand 3 different flavors. I'm just can guess because, you're in a store with like 60 flavors and they're all in different buckets. And then, but you pull them out and you put them in a bag, but you're not coming away with the labels on these things. No. Amazingly, as the years have gone by, they haven't started labeling the individual candy. So it's always an adventure, right? Just like a jelly bean. You're like, is it cherry or is it cinnamon? I don't know until you know. So I picked up a random handful. There was some hot debate between my family and I about what was a good flavor or not. My beloved husband picked up a handful of buttered popcorn flavored ones, which I thought was absolutely unhinged, but I tried one. Not bad.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, one of the things that I think is beloved and also stupid about saltwater taffy, of course, no labels. You're always kind of freestyling what flavor is it going to be, and then you have to, if you're stoned, you don't remember. You're like, this is blue. Did I have this yet? I gotta try.
Right.
What does blue taste like?
So I wanted to share a little bit about the origins, the history of saltwater taffy, if you all would oblige me.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So ballpark, when are you thinking? When are we thinking saltwater taffy comes to life?
I'm gonna say 1840.
83.
I'm
Nessa?
gonna say I'll go a little later and say
Dude, Price is right.
1904.
Oh, okay, I love it. Well, Chase is the closest on the money here. From what I'm finding, we're looking like 1880s.
Hey.
And okay, sources here. We've got the Britannica saltwater taffy entry, Britannica Online. We've got the taffy parentheses candy Wikipedia page, and the history of saltwater taffy from taffydown.com, which is amazingly a website.
Yeah.
Mostly it sells stuff. Okay, so the first record of saltwater taffy, we're giving credit to Atlantic City, Boardwalk Empire. Okay. So it used to be only a beachfront treat. Supposedly, the story goes that there was an owner of a small boardwalk postcard shop named John Ross Edmiston. he's got his little shop. People are cruising by. They're getting their postcards, maybe a wacky little blow on it fan pinwheel thing, whatever people liked in the 1880s. And then another fella, David Bradley, he posts up in the store. He's the taffy guy. He's like, I've got the stickiest motherfucking candy you've ever tried.
I got that sticky icky.
Yes, you're gonna want it. You're never gonna know what flavor it is. I've got random boxes of it. They're in a barrel. Reach in into your delight. And so this becomes very popular. Eventually, Edmiston fires Bradley, but knowing well the product on hand, he keeps selling saltwater taffy.
Okay.
Or he keeps selling this candy.
Imagine if he knew how many cup holders he was going to ruin.
I think
he's
he
so
knew.
proud. What a legacy.
Yeah.
Or how many little scrunkly pieces of wax paper were going to be out in the world because of him. Okay, so Edmiston's got this shop, and they're just selling this candy. It's just a soft candy, as opposed to the hard candies that were probably more popular at the time. And then as the story goes, one night on this little boardwalk shop, an ocean swell flooded the store. So in the morning, this shopkeep, he shows up, he sees that presumably all of his postcards as well, and all of the candy has been splashed with nasty ocean water.
Oh my God.
And the lore is that he's cleaning up the store, and a little girl comes into the store asking if he has any taffy for sale. He jokes, actually, this is crediting the old guy Bradley. So there's the Taffy Town's a little off in their storytelling here, but the story is that he says, well, I have some saltwater taffy, and sells it to this little idiot. She takes it, shares it with her friends. Her mother heard the name and loved it, and thus the name Saltwater Taffy was born. So
wow, that sounds like whenever you watch a movie about like how like a band came up with a song and they make it seem like this like inevitable, like, wait, what was that? Bang, bang, bang. And somebody else like plays something, and then just suddenly they have fuck the police or whatever. Like it just suddenly just like comes together. Like that's the way that story sounded, of like, and a little girl walked up
and she says, gee, mister, what do you call this stuff? I'm from Long Island.
I think if this was invented in the 1880s, I think that's a very nice way of saying how it was invented. If I had to guess, just given my knowledge of old brothel lore, saltwater taffy was probably a sexual act that you could pay to have performed upon you. You guys want to guess what sexual act that would be?
Oh no, it's pee, isn't it?
No.
It's pee.
It's caffeine.
It's caffeine.
Okay, so that's one. The seawater flood is one possible.
That's a good lore.
Apocryphal tale. Another apocryphal tale about the origins is that like a candy assistant, some sort of candy factory flunky, accidentally substituted salt water for fresh water in the batch by laziness or accident. But this is apocryphal tales. We don't know whether it's true or not. But there's this Edmiston guy. There's another guy, Joseph Fralinger. He's like sidling up on the boardwalk, also starts to sell taffy. And his deal was, instead of having it be like in competition with only things like cotton candy that you got to grab and enjoy, it's just for the beach. He puts it in boxes and sells it. You take it home. You got a little piece of the beach to take home with you. Brilliant marketing, obviously. His first major competition apparently comes from another candy maker. He refined the recipe. He makes it less sticky and easier to unwrap. And then loving this little ditty, the candy was also sold mail order. And in order to market it, in 1926, this guy, Enoch James, a candy maker, Enoch, I don't know how I say that, he commissioned, no, I doubt
Eunice.
No.
Impossible. In 1926, this guy, this candy maker, commissions a little sheet music sent along with the candies. It's called Send Home Some Taffy Today. Do we want to imagine how that song goes? It's 1926. I'll send
All right, I can do
home some taffy for your friends and your neighbors.
Big guy in the
Send
background,
home
right?
some taffy today. I don't know why he's got a jingle. They're all trying to do this.
Everybody had a jingle back then.
You had
if you
to.
had a product, you had to have a jingle.
So then this first guy, you got to jingle it. I mean, if I was
like
right,
jingles were like the first commercials, you know, like before.
Absolutely,
For sure.
There's just radio.
It's funny how
right?
much we don't fuck with them anymore now. Like TV shows don't even have like themes anymore.
Oh yeah,
like, it's like yeah.
Whatever
I think it's the
happened
golden
to
age of jingles.
Of the milkman, the paper boy.
578553.
Ooh, what's that one?
But that's an OG one though. That's not like
Okay, so initial guy.
What happened to jingles, Erin? That's what we have to get to the bottom of.
They've gone the wayside. All right, so we've got Send Home Some Taffy Today, an original song. We've got the Dueling Boardwalk shops. And one of these guys, the guy supposedly with the seawater kerfuffle, he went in for a trademark of the name in 1923. He wanted to trademark Saltwater Taffy and then demanded royalties from other companies using his trademarked name. He was sued by other companies, and in 1925, the trademark was invalidated as being common use. Too bad, buddy. Good try.
We all got taffy, buddy.
Saltwater is mine.
You ain't special.
So that's the taffy wars of the who knows sometime between the 1880s and 1920s. We've got it in boxes, we've got it on the coast, and now of course available all over the world in your local Winco bulk bin or wherever.
Always
you
in
can
buckets.
Find it. Always put it in a bucket. With the more of it you can get, the merrier. Because I've never seen an expiration date on one of these bad boys.
No.
Yeah.
There's
and
no
part of it is
true.
Part of it is like putting your hand into like the big like wicker bucket of it, just palming a handful of it. It's the excess, you know. Also, I'm surprised it was popular so early, given that like, you know, dentistry wasn't that advanced. So like, you know, you said hard candies, and in my head I was like, why would people prefer hard candies? Like, oh, because they don't got teeth.
Yeah, they're sucking on them, baby.
Yeah.
Supposedly, there's just in regional dialects. What did I find here? Other fun little facties. Okay, taffy. Referring to the boiled candies, supposedly appeared in the U.S. circa 1817, also used metaphorically to refer to insincere flattery. I've never heard that before.
It's also the stickiest thing a whore can do this side of the Rocky Mountains.
We say sex worker, Travis.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to be like a period.
Not when it comes to taffy, you don't.
So now it's available all over. If you're wondering, is it made with salt water? No, it is not. There is both salt and water in it, but it is not made with salt water. We just latched on to the name from the apocryphal tales. It's the third time I've said apocryphal today. There's a fourth.
You got it in. Yeah.
I'm just proud of it, and that's my little ditty about saltwater taffy.
Love it.
I will be eating some of these later. I hope it's a creamsicle one. That's my hope.
I think that is.
Yeah.
Yay, Erin!
That's good.
Good job, Erin.
Thanks,
That was
guys.
good. That was a really good one. I liked it. I'm
now
sorry I
really
made
want
it so
some
gross.
candy.
You had to.
Erin, for your segment that you're gonna do one day about beards, right? You're gonna do beard. I just want to point out, I forgot this in my story, but I had it written down. In the NHL during the playoffs, they actually have they call it like the playoff beard, right? Where as long as you're in the playoffs, you don't shave.
Okay.
And the New York Islanders were the first team to do that.
All right.
That was like their lore. So
that's fantastic knowledge.
Also, just wanted to pop in and say the definition of apocryphal is of doubtful authenticity, although widely circulated as being true. Because I didn't know what that was.
Had you heard
used
it though?
Perfectly.
Yeah,
I have heard it.
I've heard
There's
it.
a lot of words that are just floating around up here, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know what that means.
Yeah, I know how to use it right, but I could not tell you the definition of it. Yeah.
Right, indubitably.
I think that means like no, without a doubt, right?
Yeah, like certainly.
Yeah. Okay, all right, all right. Well, Vanessa, do you want the honor of being spun on a wheel for one?
Yeah, spin that wheel. Spin that wheel.
Go ahead, spin it. Let me just see my name go around and around.
Sharing the
It's
screen.
the one woman of fun. It's
Okay.
the wheel where you spin, and the lady's name is gonna be Vanessa, no matter what.
Oh, and take some taffy
I wonder if the spin thing
home.
is like looking at you
Yay.
like, why? Why?
We did it. We did it. It's
Yay.
Vanessa's turn to close it
Yay.
out.
Right. Last segment of the podcast. Time for Nessa with the news. All
Nessa
right.
with the news.
Oh, that's what we're calling Vanessa's segment? I like it.
Yeah. Well, I got
Love it.
2 stories for you guys today, buddies.
Okay.
We'll start with the weed story. So,
Thank you.
as of last week, NYPD is no longer testing the police officers for marijuana.
Wow.
They have called to cease all random, scheduled, and pre-employment drug tests because weed is legal in New York now. And like, who needs to smoke weed more than cops?
Yeah.
Like they gotta chill.
I know. I'm
yeah.
trying to think like if it's so. The thing about cops is that they're such bitches about weed. Like I'm just like I'm curious how many of them actually smoke weed. I don't. Yeah. Like
should be
well,
more.
there's already been videos coming out of like some like police just kind of chiefing like on the job in New York.
Let's
They're gonna treat it like
also.
They're gonna treat it like fentanyl and just pass out after they take a 5 milligram edible.
That's what I was
They have to be
thinking. That
taken
they're
to the
gonna have
hospital.
like panic attacks and shit.
I don't know. Like I don't know though, because New York has so many police officers. Like some of them are kind of cool. Like I know, like when I was in New York, we were at the bar.
Would you
and
like
we were
cops
just talking
or
to these
something?
dudes, and then they were like, "We're cops," and we're like, "Ew." And then I was like, "I guess you're cool. Like we've already been here for an hour." Like.
Yeah.
Wait. So my question is, and I don't want to jump ahead, so I can cut this out if that's what's happening here. But you're saying now the cops can smoke weed in New York. How are there's still like a lot of inmates who are incarcerated for weed charges, right?
Yeah, tough shit.
In New York. Yeah, that is a big thing that there are.
That's the official
policy. Hey, I'm token
in California. They started letting people out for weed charges, but like New York, they're still working on it. So the inmates are kind of up in arms, like, what the fuck? Like the CO is blowing back, like this is some bullshit. But they can still test cops under suspicion. So basically, it's like, oh, if we don't like you, we'll still fire you if we know you're token. But I mean, progress, right? Like police smoking. We didn't have this 10 years ago.
You can just hear Sublime echoing out of the police department every single day. Just 40 ounce to freedom.
They would listen to that dumb shit.
Yeah, I honestly can't figure out how I feel about it. I don't know. I just I don't know. I hate pigs. So
that is true, but
I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I just don't know how it affects it. Will it make them chill out? I know how cops normally handle shit, and it is not well. So I'm just curious how it becomes abused.
I mean, it sucks that it's legal for them to smoke weed while there's people incarcerated for it. But in terms of like psychoactive compounds and stuff, it generally, like if they're smoking actual like flower and stuff, generally it's supposed to be more like make you more empathetic and like, you know, more thoughtful, more like less violent. Like these are all things that are associated with weed and other psychoactive compounds. But if they're just like doing like straight dabs, that's probably not great.
Yeah.
You probably don't want them to like out of their minds on it.
Yeah.
I mean, what they do on their time off is none of my business. But
That's
like,
true.
if they're on the like, I don't want to get pulled over and he opens the door and it's just like fucking smoked out like that. I don't want, you know.
Or you call the cops for help, and some fucking pizza delivery boy basically rolls up and he's like, "What's happening?
Right? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You got any snacks?"
Oh man, you thought they liked donuts before.
Oh, there it is.
Dunkin' Donuts is about to be popping. Leave. They're just gonna be standing outside. Cops still get free a donut.
Like, Detective Jeremy, this is your 17th donut today. You gotta go.
He's just outside like they hate cops.
I think one of these baristas put weed in my macchiato. Not sure.
Oh, it was me. It was me. I did it again. All right.
Well,
and the
crazy
second
news.
news story, Chase.
Okay.
You're going to like this one.
Oh, okay. Oh, for me?
So, Arizona just passed a new law.
Uh-huh.
So now, as long as you're enrolled in college, you can now teach K through 12.
Ooh.
Whoa, that's not good.
Yeah.
College.
Some college, you're a teacher now.
Wow. K through
You just
12.
gotta enroll. So that means like
Yeah.
a friend, like just an 18-year-old in their first
Yeah.
semester, it can try to get a job as a teacher.
Enroll.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chase Myers
Yes.
in his very first semester of college could be teaching high school.
That's what I should
Yeah.
have done. See, this
Oh,
is
Like you could graduate and then go teach all the homies.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining Chase next to just a chalkboard that says schemes on it really big.
Yeah. It's just in big bold says get a VPN. Just
Right. At first I was like, ooh, this is not good at all. So I was like, why would they do this? So I had to look up the stats, Well,
super low on
so in
teachers.
that's just
January,
no one wants to teach, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, they had like in January, 1/3 of the teaching positions in Arizona were vacant.
Oh my gosh.
And then out of that, 48% of their teachers that they did hire didn't meet teaching requirements, standard teaching requirements. So they just were there without, degrees.
So there's like 4 good
so I was
teachers.
like, yeah. So there's only 52% teachers that should teach in Arizona at this point.
Wow.
There's a time in this country where the majority of high school teachers had PhDs. That was like the 50s and 60s, I think. There was like a crazy statistic. Like, yeah. No, we don't do that anymore.
There were fewer people then. Simply.
Yeah.
Dude, that's nutty. So,
right?
I mean, I wonder, are they like, okay, well, we want to keep this 48%, so we'll change the requirements? Or were they like, we got to get rid of these and get some new blood, so we'll keep our 52% of qualified people.
Some new not educated blood.
Yeah. But they have curious minds.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think like, all right, so I'm in my first semester. I get a job at a high school and then I quit college and then I only
But you're not enrolled at that point.
I know. So do I now lose the teaching job, or you know what I'm saying? Like, can you just become a teacher and go, well, I got my job?
I think they let you finish the year.
Hey, we're not happy about it, but we'll let you teach the youth.
Like if it's like most jobs, they just do that like checkup when you get hired and then they just don't give a fuck.
Right.
They're like, oh, you have a degree, cool. Like we don't need to see that. Like,
I don't know what kind of high school you guys went to, but I learned chemistry from a sundowning old woman who was terrified of us and would just walk in, forget what she was doing, and start playing gospel music and just sit there on her computer. And then eventually she'd get mad and try to send like the entire class to the office. Like literally 30, 40 kids would all just walk down to the school's office, and then they'd send us back and we'd walk back. Like that's what my high school was doing because they didn't have enough teachers. So I don't know if this is better or worse.
Yeah, at least they're young, like maybe young folks that are like excited to learn, and they can make money while they're going to school. I don't know, if we're bright siding it, but it's also Arizona, so man.
Yeah, I feel like I could just be enrolled in one online class and just go teach up there, get my summers off.
So, psychology.
Who wants to read page 1? Okay.
You seem crazy. What's it like up in there?
I'm just gonna go.
Debbie.
My first day. It's just gonna be me doing my
Toxoplasma
Gondii presentation. It's in cats.
Oh no!
And it's in all of you.
Yeah.
Let's all draw our own blood.
Well, Vanessa, I like your stories, but I'm just like scared for the world after you're like, I really don't know how to like take in like the two things that I'm like, all right, these cops are high and 18-year-olds are teaching the next generation. Okay, all right. This is
buckle up 10 years from now.
These poor kids in Arizona that are like then themselves going to try to go get into college, and they're like, oh, these credits don't mean anything. You learned this from what looks like the captain of the lacrosse team at ASU. He has not completed a degree.
But I'm just like, you already know there's going to be people in like non-accredited colleges just like, well, I'm enrolled. Like, fuck it. Yeah. It's just online. It's not real at all. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets in.
Seems like a great opportunity for some fraud.
Hey, but I looked into that too. They make on average $54,000 a year. So if
that's what I'm saying. It's very tempting. Yeah.
I'm going to teach in Arizona. Shit don't want to go.
Yeah. Work 9.5 months a year. Yeah.
University of Phoenix, part-time. Yep.
Yeah.
For like a day. You just gotta enroll.
I do think though, like just from my knowledge of friends who work in education, like when there's something like that, where it's like there's going to be such a striation of education and expertise within the teaching side of things, like the best teachers are clearly going to go to like charter schools and the biggest public schools. Whereas like we're joking around about it, but like the kids who probably need education the most are going to get stuck with some 18-year-old. That's kind of
for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
For sure.
Way to bring it back to reality, Travis.
If it's two things I love, it's reality and Toxoplasma Gondii, baby.
Toxoplasma Gondii. Well, there it is.
Awesome.
I think we fucked around and learned something today.
I think we did.
We did.
Do you guys have anything to plug?
Ooh.
This probably won't come out till next week.
Just the normal stuff. Just follow us on everything, you know.
Yeah,
right.
Follow us on the net.
Like and subscribe this YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube, and subscribe and leave us a nice review if you're listening to just the podcast. Also, check out my YouTube channel, Travis Nelson Comedy. There's a bunch of stuff there. If you see the Funny Sad playlist on our Blunt People YouTube, all the old episodes are on my old YouTube, and all the new ones are going to be on the Blunt People YouTube channel. Also, check out our website. I worked hard on it. It's cool.
Great job, Travis.
Thank you.
Also, definitely follow Travis's YouTube. He's really close to 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, I'm so close.
I know that's what he wants to say. But
Just a couple more. He can start making money.
Yeah. There's some funny sads that are great on there. You should definitely subscribe.
And Erin and I just made a new Faded Folklore about the Lady Franklin Bay expedition.
When's that coming out?
Which is also very cheerful. That's hopefully coming out later this week, so it'll be out by the time I put this episode out.
Gorgeous. Look it up. We had a nice little time. I ate a bunch of candy. It's kind of my
favorite. You did? Some pizza? Yeah. You're really...
I ate a bunch of candy during Travis's podcast, too.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Thank you guys so much for checking out the Blunt People podcast. Check it out. Leave us some, if you got questions, send in questions. You can send questions to the Blunt People at gmail.com. Shoot us any weird question. I would love to get like a mailbag section of the podcast going. That would be really fun. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Stay tuned and check out the next one. Thank you. Love you. Bye.
You down with BPP?
Bye.
Yeah, you know me.
That's the word, baby bird.